Unit 13, Task 7 presentation. I will be doing my presentation on QuickTime Player by screen recording my whole screen and showing you my presentation. Firstly, let me start off by saying, to start off the whole Unit 13, I made a proposal. By making this proposal, it gave me a guideline of how I should structure my production. I first started with rationality, talking about all the skills that I've learned in the past 2 years of doing this course and how it will help me with my final major project. Then I started with the project concept by talking about the theme of my project, about the character, about whether it's a linear or non-linear narrative, the approach I'll be using with the camera techniques and the editing, and also about the scenes, the characters, and how the whole thing will go about. I also talked about my target audience that I believe that will be aged 18 to 29. The reason for this is because doing my research, I found out on the similar products to my production, all of their target audience were 18 to 29-year-old males. I got this information from their IMDb ratings, and majority of their viewers were males, from male to female ratio being 8 to 1. I also done an evaluation on my proposal, talking about how I will be reflecting on my work and where I'll be writing down my initial ideas and how I'll be getting feedback from it. The feedback, I got feedback from SurveyMonkeys, YouTube comments, from my actors, from classmates and teachers. The script also helped me guideline my whole production. Here it is. Okay, let's move on to the actual presentation, sorry. Right, the title of my short film was Rewind. The themes that I had for my short films was time travel and thriller. The short film contained 4 characters, names being Nadav, Riz, Ban, and the last character not being named. The first character, Nadav, is the protagonist. For my short film, I believe that it was best that I don't put too much thought into this character and just let the audience view it and let the actor himself act as if like he is the character. He has no special like quirks or personalities or whatever. He's just there and he does the job. So basically, Nadav gains this time travel ability in my short film, and with this ability he saves his friend. However, when he saves his friend, he realizes that he can time travel, but he doesn't know how to use it, so he explains it to his friends. When he explains it to them, they don't believe him. As soon as they don't believe him, he leaves off thinking maybe it was just a dream and maybe it didn't happen. However, it did happen, and because it did happen, he was killed. Now, that was the initial idea that I had for my short film. However, I ended it off with before him revealing his abilities to his friends, because I believe that if I carried on with him dying at the end, it wouldn't have the same effect. It would have a different type of effect and confuse the audience. I believe that I should have made it much more clearer in my script how the story would go on, but I was more focused on the visuals rather than the story. My target audience will be 18 to 29-year-old males. The reason for this is because all of the similar products that I've researched upon, all had the same target audience. Now, these target now the similar products that I researched were 2 films, a short film, and an anime. The 2 films were Click by Adam Sandler, frequently asked questions about time travel. The short film was 1 Minute Time Machine, a Devon Avery film, and the anime was Steins Gate. Now, all these similar products have one thing in common, and that's time travel. That's why I chose these similar productions to research. 1 Minute Time Machine is about a short film that is a comedy and romance. It runs for 6 minutes, it has one location and two protagonists. The short film is done in a clever way by showing the time travel in the editing by using quick dissolve. The short film's context is romance mixed with comedy. James is trying to approach Regina by talking to her, but every time he fails, he uses the 1 Minute Time Machine, and at the end, it has a funny ending to it by her knowing that he's using the time machine and she uses it to save his life. The target audience for 1 Minute Time Machine were primarily males aged 18 to 40, with female to male votes being 15 to 1. I found this out by going on IMDb's user ratings on 1 Minute Time Machine's profile. As you can see, it says here, male votes 456, female votes 56. And the age is 200 votes by males aged 18 to 20, whereas 31 votes from females aged 18 to 29. Now, Steins Gate is an anime which I've watched over 5 years ago, I believe, and it has a very complex storyline, and it's all revolved around time travel, where this mad scientist tries to build a time travel machine to help people in the show. Each episode is different by helping different people. However, it has a complex and plot-driven story, which I believe I couldn't have made because my short film would have been about 5 minutes long, and already I believe it's too confusing to understand just by it being 5 minutes. Now, it's about a university student who discovers time travel. Him and his colleagues use their knowledge to stop an evil organization from pursuing their diabolical plans. Now, the target audience for Steins Gate is majority males from age 18 to 29 again, and male votes to female votes is 10 to 1. And as you can see here, also Steins Gate is one of the most popular animes according to MyAnimeList.com, which is the #1 anime list user rating website on the internet. Is ranked number 3 in ratings, and popularity is ranked number 9. Click is also a family comedy sci-fi film which was produced by Adam Sandler. He plays an overworking architect who neglects his family. He then gains a universal remote that allows him to fast forward through boring parts of his life. He soon learns that the boring parts of his life he skips are with the valuable time he needs to spend with his family. However, the film, A Man Named Morty, explains how the remote works to Sandler. Again, the ratings for Click on IMDb were males voters were 166,000, whereas female votes were 14,000. And the majority were males aged 18 to 29, sorry. See the Now, frequently asked questions about time travel is a 2009 comic sci-fi film. Follows two social outcasts and their suspicious friends as they try to time travel to the middle of a British pub, a girl from the future who sets the adventure in motion. This film isn't the best from all of my similar productions, but nevertheless the majority of the votes once again were mostly males from male to female votes being aged from being 10 to 1. The age group, however, was a higher group since it's more driven to older folks, 30 to 48, 44. So my target audience, I believe, will be two things that stood out to me. From my similar production research, two things stood out to me the most was that the majority of the voters were males aged 18 to 23. 3 out of 4 of my similar production were males aged 18 to 29. So I believe the target audience will be males aged 18 to 29 due to the research I conducted on my story theme and similar productions. Now, here on my Wix page, I posted all of my work on here. Here we have the work from last year I've done, my advert and my music video. And for my final major project, I uploaded my short film, some test shots, script read through, and interviews about my short film. For this title sequence, I believe that the simplicity of it is what makes it great. I just filmed I filmed the clock, and in Final Cut Pro I reversed the footage to make the clock go anti-clockwise. I believe the music I chose as well was a nice touch to it. It gave it a mystery feel, especially when the beat drops. From the initial first scenes, the audience do not know what they're watching. However, I do believe that I could have made it much more clearer in some parts of my short films.
Why? When you wake up, then you forget 90% of your dreams. Yeah, I know.
This part when they're talking about the first scene when Nadav and Riz meet up, I believe that my initial idea was for this scene to be the one after it. I wanted him to have a normal conversation with his friend. However, during filming, I forgot to implement that and mixed up the footages. So it was meant to be that when they meet up, they have a normal conversation. And as you can see here,
what the fuck?
Riz gets hit by a car. Then as soon as after this scene, I wanted this part to be the part where they talk about their lost, when Nadav talks about his dream. And his dream he was gonna say was, he got hit, Riz got hit by a car, and as soon as he tells him that, he stops him from getting hit by his car.
So Nadav, you're up there, Alenia?
I believe the highlight for my short film would be this flashback. When Van, Nadav's friend, says, "You're up a bit early," he has a flashback of Riz dying in the first scene. And the way I done this flashback was I color corrected the colors of the footage to be more greenish and bluish and darkish to show that it's a flashback, and also by fast forwarding the footages. The clock going anti-clockwise was meant to show also that time travel is being shown. However, as I received audience feedback, it's been clear to me that it wasn't very clear for them to understand that time travel is the theme of my short film.
guess it's time for a change.
This wasn't meant to be the end, however, due to B's feedback I received, she said that the ending I initially had planned was a bit too confusing and hard to pull off, as well as it did run over more than 6-7 minutes. So I had to compromise with leaving it on a cliffhanger. The final scene was going to be a conversation between Nadav and his friends explaining his time travel ability. When he explains it, they don't believe him, and he starts to doubt himself as well. And once he starts to doubt himself, he leaves his two friends and goes off on his errands. While he's on his errands, he spots the car that he sees that killed Riz in the first scene. And when he sees the car, he looks up closely, and the owner of the car kills him. That was my way of showing that once you change the past, the future will also be changed, and it's dangerous to change the past. For my audience feedback, I received a couple texts, a couple YouTube comments, and some written questionnaire answers for my feedback. For my feedback on YouTube, one of the feedbacks that helped the most was by a user named Ashraf Udin. He says, "I really enjoyed watching this short film. The storyline was very interesting as it really showed that you put a lot of time and effort into your planning your script, and the range of different shots throughout the film were excellent. The editing was something that made me enjoy the film, as you managed to showcase your creativity by making the sequence of shots more interesting. The way you fast forwarded the car scene was really good. However, there were some parts of the editing that could have been done better, but overall I enjoyed this film." To be honest, I'm quite pleased with the feedback I received. I believe so my editing could have been better as well, but with the time and resources that I had, I think I've done the best I could, and I'm proud of that. I also received some feedback from some friends in a group chat. I asked them to watch my film and give me some feedback, and one of them was like explaining it how I believed I wanted it to be. However, due to poor filming on certain days, I wasn't able to showcase my script properly, and poor planning. Yeah. I also conducted some other types of research where I annotated things about time travel and forums and stuff, and here they are. And some of these are also my written feedbacks that I gained from classmates, teachers, and colleagues. Yeah. So to conclude, I would like to say that the majority, sorry, wrong page. To conclude this presentation, I believe that the short film that I produced for my final major project was near professional standard. The reason it wasn't professional standard was because I lacked on the storytelling aspect of it and focused more on the visuals. However, next time if I do a final major project or another short film, I believe that it will be of professional standard, high enough to enter in competitions and believe that I would win. I believe that my weaknesses in this final major project was last minute, doing work last minute, poor planning, and not believing in the time that I had. I could have made more drafts of my script to improve it and gathered more feedback for my scripts. However, I didn't do so. I focused way too much on the camera angles and techniques that I completely forgot that it's more than just visual, it's about the story as well. The audience will like the visuals, but however, if the story doesn't make sense and flows with the visuals, then it'll be a waste. Overall, I'm satisfied with my personal growth in this course. I believe that my camera techniques, my editing techniques, my Final Cut Pro techniques, my Photoshop, my paperwork, my planning and productions have all increased. I believe that this task, this final major project, will be the stepping stone to allow me to improve not in just college but also in higher education in university. The deadline also helped me keep up with my work and not slack off. Yeah, thank you.